What's up, guys? This is Kephas. So 8.3 has been out now for a few weeks, and I really haven't talked too much about it. Honestly, I've been so focused on getting all those class guides done, which we've finally hit that point. All the class guides have been completed. We have all macros for all classes and specs, all basic rotation guides for all classes and specs, with the exception of most of the healers. Sorry, guys. But I feel very accomplished, and I'm so happy with how both those guides have worked out. I was really surprised, actually. I wasn't sure if splitting the guides and the rotations and the macros up into two separate videos would work as well, but it actually has worked out very well because it's given people two different things to look for, and some people want one and some people want the other, some people want both. So it gives it an option, and it's not all inside one video. So it's been an amazingly fun project to work on, and I really enjoyed it. That's kind of been where most of my focus has been, and it actually is a good timing because now that 8.3 is here, a new raid, all those guides should be, more than adequate to help people who are getting into 8.3, because really there haven't been a lot of class changes, certainly nothing significant enough to change up the core rotations and how the macros are going to work. So it works out really well. I'll probably do the same thing again in Shadowlands. When Shadowlands comes out, we'll do more rotations and macros and more guides and more, mods and probably more UIs, depending on what comes out and what inspires me. But I really enjoy doing the macro guides. I get so much positive feedback about that stuff. I remember when I first started doing it, I would get some people that were like really angry with me, but it was a very small number of people compared to how much positive attention they were getting. And nowadays, it's just people are very thankful that they're there because it helps a lot of people with different needs and special needs and that kind of thing. So I'm more than happy to help people out. And I also like to make, I like the idea of just making the basic guide, like nothing too in depth, nothing like, if you want to min-max, you can go look up min-maxing, but I like to make, the basic rotation guides. Like, here's a quick 2 to 3 minute little guide that should help you get started with a class. That's kind of the idea, and it's actually taken off pretty well. I wasn't sure how it was going to do. So I'm very happy about that. I'm happy to see that series be completed, and I'm happy to do it again when Shadowlands comes out. It'll take time, as always, but we'll get there. And that's kind of like, now my focus, like I said, is kind of being shifted to Classic still, because I'm leveling up characters there to try to get those guides out, which there are some to do. It's going to be a little bit trickier because of the fluidity of builds in Classic. The simplified rotations, they're very, very rudimentary, honestly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in some cases it's like, well, do we even need to make a macro? But honestly, they can all benefit from different types of macros that I intend to work on. So, that's going on. But anyway, I've been dealing with all of that, and 8.3's come out, and I've, checked a little bit of it out. Honestly, I haven't been too compelled by the end game. I was initially with the Rise of Ashara stuff. I liked Mechagon. I went through all that. I did all the Nazjatar stuff to get to Exalted so that I could, unlock everything that there was to unlock. Obviously, I've unlocked the Volpera. I've unlocked the Mechanomes. That was fun. I'm always compelled by those types of unlocks. But 8.3, I did play through the initial quest line on Kephas. I did, do a handful of horrific visions, and they seem pretty fun. But honestly, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's because I don't really raid anymore. I don't know if it's because I don't have a group of friends that I play with and raid with and that kind of thing. But it's been a long time since I've been really compelled by power progression in Warcraft. I'm not particularly into that right now, and I'm not saying I'll never be into that again, but it's just something that doesn't appeal to me as much. And I think that's partially why I enjoy Classic so much, because there is power progression, there is gear to get and that kind of thing, but so much of your time is invested on leveling up your character and unlocking all your talents, and building different builds and that kind of thing, and buying your abilities, and there's gold to make for Classic and retail, and I tend to focus on gold making for retail when I can. Now that the new auction house is out, unfortunately, there really isn't a lot of lucrative markets without sitting at the auction house 24 hours a day to do it. So I don't know. So that's the thing about 8.3 is that it's not that it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's pretty decent. I don't know. I think it could have been a lot better, for sure. I think that 8.3 needed to be a new Argus, and the Black Empire needed to be like Argus, and that's what we needed, and that's what we didn't get. It's nice to revisit like a couple of old areas, Old Doom and you know, Vale. It's nice to go back there again. Unfortunately, it's like you go there every day, and those are the same two places that you go every day, and they're little areas, and you know, you do dailies, which I don't like the new dailies personally. I don't like the new system with those. I do like the horrific visions. Honestly, I think that's about the only thing I liked was the horrific visions. I think horrific visions are cool, but the rest of it's just like, oh god, more of this. Okay, fine, whatever. You know, people who like it will do it, and then people who don't will not, I guess. I don't know. But I think that a lot of it, you know, I think a lot of the problem is, I think I was watching a video from Bellular who said this, that one of the problems that Blizzard has is that they feel like they have to tie every new thing into player power, you know, into gear progression or you know, some type of like power progression. And that is a problem, you know, because like WoW is just like, you know, we're going to keep building this tower of power progression, and the new thing is just going to replace the old thing, you know. So now it's not benthic gear anymore, now it's corrupted gear. Next expansion is that it's going to be kind of the same idea, right? And I kind of get that, because like when I play, like, and the reason why I really understand that is because, as you guys know, I spent some time playing Final Fantasy XIV, which is a really good MMO. It's as good as World of Warcraft, to be honest. It may not be a preference that some have. Some people might prefer one over the other. I prefer certain things about WoW, mainly the art style and the world. I like Azeroth very much, but a lot of the systems in Final Fantasy I prefer. And one of those is, well, a lot of those is how you unlock things by playing the game. You unlock different features on your account by playing through the game. You unlock, you know, squadrons that you can power up, your squadrons that can help you out tremendously leveling up. Obviously, your one character can be any job, so you can switch different roles, level those up. You know, you can buy a house, you can build, you know, you can upscale your house. There's guild houses. Like, there are so many different things that you can do. I mean, there's triple triad, which WoW kind of has that with the Pokemon pet battles, you know. But there are tons of different things that you can focus on in Final Fantasy. Like, so much at first it's overwhelming, which is a feeling that I used to have with WoW back in the day. But even then, it wasn't as much as Final Fantasy. But, you know, it was a new, I mean, it being an MMO was virtue enough, right? So, but the problem with WoW is that each new patch is, here's the new character progression, here's the new raid, have fun. That's kind of it. And that, for me, and I think for a lot of people, can only be fun for so long. And I'm sure that people who have done everything there is to do in Final Fantasy XIV feel that way. They take breaks, and that's okay to take breaks. You know, it's fine. There are other games to play, for sure. I'm going to be doing that from here on out, for sure, with these MMOs. But it's nice to come back and play them again. I just wish that for retail, you know, maybe there was some more to do that wasn't just character progression, gear progression, that kind of thing. Like, that's the main thing, for sure. And I guess if you're a raider, then you like not having other things to do. But for everybody else who wants to play a video game where you're in this world and there's all these other people, and it's like, you know, like, I remember when WoW used to feel like Sword Art Online, you know, like, you actually felt like you were a part of this world and there's all these people around and it's crazy. And I think that's a feeling that a lot of us just want back. It doesn't matter how they do it. It's just, we just want that feeling back. We want to feel like the world is vibrant and exciting, and there are crazy things going on and all that kind of stuff. And I think that, you know, obviously we've been playing these games for a long time, and that might have something to do with it. But I think a lot of it is just generally how the direction of the game has gone, because I kind of get that vibe when I play Classic. I kind of feel like there's things going on and I'm part of this like bigger world, and I feel that way in Final Fantasy as well. I feel like there's a lot going on in that game, but oddly with retail, it doesn't. It really does. I say this a lot. It feels a lot like arcade mode, you know, which I guess it works for some people, and that's fine. I'm not trying to complain about it, but it's just, I just wish that there was more to do in retail that wasn't just the new gimmick, but just we're gonna fan this out, and we're gonna spread out the different types of things that you can go for that are compelling and interesting, and try to make this world feel alive again. I don't know exactly what they can do, but I think that's the direction that the game needs to go in. I don't think that it can continue to go in this singular straight line A to B to C to D expansion system and expect people to continue to be interested in it. And if you are, that's fine. You're allowed to, but you have to, even if you love it, even if you think it's the greatest thing ever, you have to admit that it hasn't been successful enough to keep as many people playing as it used to. And that's obviously cannot be argued. That it's not just a matter of, the game is old. It's more than that, because look at how much Classic has done. There's more to it than that. It's not about how much time you invest. It's not about, how much of a life you have or whatever, it is. It's about whether or not the game is compelling to most people or to a lot of people. And while retail is compelling to a lot of people, but it's not as compelling to a lot of people as it used to be. And I think that's where a lot of the problem comes in. So I don't know what they can do. I would like to see more options, more things to work towards, more ways to flesh out your character. I think that's a big part of it for me. But other than that, I thought 8.3 was a lot of fun. I thought that, it was cool going through that quest line and doing horrific visions was kind of neat. But I'm kind of focused now on leveling up my new Vulpera character and going back and going through the world again, which is kind of funny. That's what I always go back to. And I don't know why. It's just what I always have enjoyed. I've always enjoyed the leveling progression, and playing on a new server is kind of fun, just to maybe meet some new people, that kind of thing, see some new faces. So that's what's going on. And then, of course, the other thing to talk about with 8.3 is that ending cinematic. Wow. If you want to call it that, I don't know if I guess it was a cinematic. The one with Rathian in it, where he had the dagger and he was throwing it up and down, turning into a dragon. That was pretty sweet. The final cinematic that was 24 seconds long was trash. Flat out horrible, horrible trash. And there was actually a pretty big debate going on Twitter between some other content creators, and I tried very hard not to jump into it because I didn't want to get in on that mix. But some feel like it was a ripoff, and others felt like it wasn't a ripoff. It was obviously very clearly a ripoff. Specifically, it was a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. Now, for some reason, whenever you say it was a ripoff, people think that you're going to contact a lawyer and you're going to file a plagiarism lawsuit against Blizzard. And it's no, that's not. It's obviously it was different enough. It's not plagiarism. They didn't break any laws, okay? But it obviously they were ripping off of Lord of the Rings. And the reason why I would say it's a ripoff, not only because it really does follow the basic scene by scene of the ending of Return of the King, it also follows the music pretty closely as well. Closely enough that you're yeah, they totally took that. Now, if they had extended the scene to be 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, and they had done more to make it their own ending, this is WoW's ending, we're making this our own. We kind of nodded to Lord of the Rings, but then we did this, and this, and it kind of made it our own. I don't think that people would have been upset by it, because that kind of stuff happens all the time. Parodies, and even as a ripoff. I think that sometimes, yeah, we kind of, we took from that for sure. But the rest of it was good and it was funny. It's fine, whatever, that's whatever. But because it was a 24-second video that was almost entirely a ripoff of the ending of Return of the King with Sauron's demise, yeah, people were not happy about it. People felt like they got ripped off by not getting a satisfying conclusion to one of the longest running and hyped bosses in the game. Which is crazy to think that now we are in a WoW world that is post-Azshara and post-Inzoth Black Empire, and that's really hard. I mean, I feel like, Argus was a very good, they did really good with Legion, with all those villains, and, Sauron might come back. He's not gone. He did some serious damage. He had a major impact on the world, and the Black Empire did not in any way have an impact on anything at all. Neither did Azshara, and I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that you could have just, this just is closed now. It's done. That's it. And I don't think it sits well with people. I think that people were very unhappy about the story in Battle for Azeroth. It was a catastrophic failure. I would say that. I think that, well, I mean, maybe that's a little bit hyperbole, but it was a failure nonetheless. I think the best stories in WoW, in WoW BFA were the simple ones, the smaller stories, the Zandalari Trolls. I thought that was a kind of an interesting story with Blonsamdi, the Cool Turan storylines. I thought those were good. And all the Zone storylines were pretty good as well. But when you get into, like, the Sylvanas stuff and all this, stuff going on with her, and which was the whole Sourfang story arc was basically Durotan's story arc from the movie, the Warcraft movie. Without getting into spoilers, it was basically the exact same thing. So there was a lot of, like, nothing in this storyline was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. It's just, okay, cool. That's, wow. I mean, actually, I was like, I didn't see it coming. I did not think that they would go this route where we're going to just put these big, hyped baddies out there and then just, they're gone. That's it, pretty much. Man. Unless they do some kind of cop-out and Dragon Ball Z them back into the universe, which wouldn't surprise me that, they might do something like that. I don't know. But they really, story-wise, I think that they have some ideas. But I think WoW is best when it just keeps it relatively simple but satisfying. When they try to do, like, a lot of complex stuff and stuff that doesn't translate well to a video game, I think it kind of hurts them and it hurts their story in the long run. I miss the old story. I miss the simplicity of it. I miss, character arcs like Arthas, which was really good. So I think that the storyline and the overall impact of Inzoth and the Black Empire was horrible, just horrible. And if these writers, these people that are writing this story, think that they're doing good and they're shutting themselves off like people say that they do, and not taking feedback and not taking criticism, well, you're not going to see any improvements. And I think that they're kidding themselves. I think that when you are writing a story, you need to take criticisms and you need to look at how this is going to translate into a game. If you want to write a novel, go be a novel writer. If you want to write a screenplay for a movie, go do that. But if you want to write a story for a long-running MMO, you need to think about how this is going to translate into the game. And if it doesn't, then do something different. I mean, I, for one, if it's true that they had to cut back and cut out some patch and cut out some story and just rush through this so that they can get on the Shadowlands, well, that's kind of crappy anyways. But if that's the case, then call an audible and don't kill off these major characters. Save them for later and do something a lot more satisfying down the road. I mean, this game hopefully isn't going anywhere, but you don't want to get rid of big characters like that, because then you got to make new ones that people don't care about. People care about these characters. People cared about Azshara. People certainly cared about Inzoth and the old gods. Maybe not as much as they cared about Illidan and Arthas, but it's definitely better to do it right the first time than it is to kill them and then Dragon Ball Z them back so that you can maybe try later to do it better. Because that just doesn't feel as good. So it's kind of anticlimactic at that point. So that's just one of those things. I mean, you got all the time in the world to make the stuff happen. You need to, I don't know. I would not have gone the way they did. If they had to call an audible, I would have, as much as it would have sucked. I mean, they're already down the dumps anyways. You might as well just, Ny'alotha was a setback, or something like that, and have these baddies run away. That would have been a better option. But especially because they didn't build this up. I mean, it wasn't like Arthas where they built it up. It was his time to die, and it felt right. They could have done a lot more here. So that's my thoughts on the 8.3. So there's some positive, there's some negative. That's how it's always going to be with me. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.